Should we start?
Yeah, why not? Hello.
Hello, world, podcast world. It's Caroline and Carla.
It is technically challenged.
Technically challenged,
That's what we should call it.
Perhaps we should, rather than the C word. To anybody out there listening, oh God, hang on, just let me close my email because we've got email sounds coming through now. Oh, it's all so complicated. We're hoping to get better at this. I love a new challenge. Carla less so, I think.
I feel quietly confident that we cannot get worse at this.
Well, that's always good, isn't it? Anyway, should we tell the people? I'm assuming there will be people what we're doing.
Yes, go ahead. This is all your baby. I'm just here. I'm just here for the ride. So
we thought we'd start a podcast. We are two friends who met through the internet through our job at the time, which was selling things on eBay.
It was, yeah. That was a really convoluted description, and it made. I wondered where we were going with it.
Oh, okay. We're two internet friends. That just sounds weird, doesn't it? Yeah, it was a bit of a convoluted description. But yes, we're two friends and we both have YouTube channels and we do a bit of YouTube. And we thought we'd do a podcast for something new and different.
Indeed.
So
and I've got to remember not to nod my head and just, yeah. I've got to actually verbalise.
We've also both got to not talk over each other, which is something we're really bad at doing when we get together and do videos. And it doesn't matter so much on a video, but I think on a podcast it might be more noticeable. So we'll try to, perhaps we should put our hand up when we want to talk.
That thing where you can only speak if you've got the stick.
Yes, I've got the stick. So we thought we want to keep them fairly short. It's going to be 20 to 30 minutes is the plan. So there'll probably be a lot of editing involved. But we're going to have a little chat about how our week's gone. And then we're going to have a little discussion subject for the week. That's sort of the plan. So let's start with how our week's gone. Carla, what has happened to you this week that's been good? Anything?
Well, I spent the day with you in Bridgewater. That was nice.
It was nice. Obviously,
I mean, it wasn't. Bridgewater wasn't nice because it never is, but it was always nice to get together.
I mean, even the pub where we have lunch now has gone downhill, hasn't it? It was a disappointing lunch.
It has. If you're watching, I think it's called the Cornhill, isn't it?
Yes.
If you're listening, rather, if you're listening, people of the Cornhill, we're disappointed in you.
I suspect they won't be tuning in, especially to hear our review of their lunch.
And if they did, I suspect they would not be devastated.
Yeah, I certainly get that impression. But we need to find somewhere new for lunch in Bridgewater. So if anyone's listening from that neck of the woods, we like to meet up for a day in Bridgewater because it's not because we love Bridgewater, although it's perfectly acceptable. It's because it's halfway between both of us and it's easy to get to just off the motorway. So if you know any nice places for lunch, let us know.
What I did discover driving home from Bridgewater is that Bridgewater have a drive-through Greggs.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
My mind was blown. You know when you're driving along and something catches your attention and you have to snap your head back because you realise you're still driving along. So yeah, I was kind of like, drive-through Greggs. Be still, my beating heart.
Do you know, I don't think I've ever been in a Greggs.
You can't put that out on the airwaves.
I don't think I have.
They do caviar pasties and
quite dynastic. I did once have a festive bake from Greggs that somebody bought me.
Did you send someone else in? How did you get it?
No. It was when I was working in Ashley's office and somebody went to Greggs to get pasties and things for everybody, and they bought me. I said I didn't really want anything, and they bought me a festive bake.
Festive bakes are the bomb, but the rest of the year you have to have the chicken bake or the steak bake. But the chicken bake is pretty good. This is becoming the Greggs podcast.
It is.
We're not sponsored, but Mr. Greg, if you'd like to reach out.
Yeah.
But yeah, chicken bake or a steak bake or a sausage and bean melt. Oh,
they do those in Aldi.
Do they?
Yeah. A version.
Aldi I go. Enjoy the rest of your podcast. See you later.
In the frozen department.
Insert sounds of me leaving and a door slamming.
Anyway, shall I tell you what happened to me this week that was good? It wasn't as exciting as a cheese and bean pasty from Greg's.
Okay.
I had occasion to call Bournemouth Borough Council to speak to the Housing Benefit Department. And as one does when one has to make a phone call, I braced myself because I anticipated it would be an awful lot of being on hold and pressing this button to connect and then speaking to someone who didn't know who I was or care what I wanted. You know, if I was lucky enough to even get through to a human being, that thing we all do these days when we have to make a phone call, particularly to any public sector place. Anyway, I phoned them up. It rang about 4 times. I had to press a button to get through to either revenue or benefits or something, just one button. And then a person answered the phone.
I don't believe you. I mean, it's a cool story. It's a cool story. You just told me you weren't on hold very long and you only pressed one button and a person answered the phone.
A person answered the phone.
To believe this.
And then I explained what I was phoning for, and she tapped away at her computer. She went, "Oh no, I can't access that record. It's not letting me." I went, "Oh, so well, what do we do now?" She said, "Well, I'll have to speak to someone." And I said, "Well, can I speak to someone else who can get access to it?" And "Oh no, I'll have to call you back," she said. So she took my number and my name and said, "Someone will call you back. It'll probably be within 48 hours, but sometimes it's a bit longer." And so I got off the phone, I wrote in my diary for 3 days hence, phone Bournemouth Borough Council again. This was how convinced I was. 10 minutes later, I kid you not, my phone rang. It was Bournemouth Borough Council calling me back, having got access to the record and provided me with an answer to my query.
I think we should all move to Bournemouth, where they have efficient councils. I've never heard the like.
Nor have I. Honestly, there's many layers of this, isn't there? Because it's so bizarre that is such an amazing thing to happen that it's worthy of being mentioned.
Yeah, this should be the standard, shouldn't it? You should be able to telephone a council and have a person answer your call and have them have a vague idea of how to do their job. That should be the very basics, really.
Absolutely. And it was just so nice and to be able to solve something without, having to revisit it and spend hours waiting. It was so refreshing and so pleasant, and it made me wish that the world was more like that. On a day-to-day basis.
I need to ring my dentist again because there's something nice that's happened to me this week, is that I may actually have a dentist again.
Oh, that's good news. See you up. That's excellent news.
Yeah, during lockdown, my dentist went kaput. Just didn't reopen, and there are no dentists in Bristol taking on NHS patients, just none. And then the other day I noticed that my dentist was advertising on Facebook for new private patients, so I got my clogs on and stormed off to ring them up and tell them exactly what I thought about dentists that reopened and dumped all their NHS patients and went private, and they said, "Oh no, we can re-register, that's fine." So that took all the wind out of my sails and all the steam out of my trumpet, and off I went. Yeah, so I'm going to have a dentist again, hurrah! Which means I probably have to have some work done on my teeth because I haven't been to a dentist in however long it is since they shut down. So,
yay for that, though. Yeah, definitely. So, has anything happened that hasn't been good this week?
Oh, just the rest of my life.
Just the rest of your life.
No significant bad things this week. Particularly, I've not been particularly well. But no significant negatives.
That's good then. Nothing bad's happened, but can I take this opportunity to have a bit of a moan about the weather? Because I feel like it's springtime now. I want there to be spring, and there's been nothing but cold, clouds, rain and misery all weekend, all of last week, and as far back as I can remember. And I'm not having it.
We've got sunshine right now, but we had a short shower a minute ago. So I watched my neighbour. She went and put her washing out. And I thought, oh, that's quite a nice windy day. That's probably a good idea. Perhaps I should have done. Within seconds, it belted down, and I watched the poor woman scurry back out, get it all back in again. And I sat here feeling semi-sorry for Sean, but also semi-glad that I hadn't followed Sean's example and put mine out.
So smug. That feeling of self-satisfied smugness, Carla. Can't beat it.
Yeah, we've got patchy with showers or whatever it is they say on the.
I'm going to look at garden furniture with Ashley at Trago Mills after this, and I feel like it's not the time that, I don't know, I don't feel enthused by it.
Can you see if they've got any sun loungers built for persons of a heftier persuasion?
I certainly can, yes.
I want it to feel like you could drop a 20-stone woman on it. That's what I wanted to feel like, basically.
When you say drop, do you mean a great height, or are you going to jump out of the garden with the bedroom window onto it? Or?
When you get onto sun lounger, you lower yourself to a certain point, and then gravity takes over, and you kind of drop the rest of the way, don't you? Especially if you've got knees like mine. There's only so far that your knees can take you before you just plummet the rest. So
I don't know what to say to that.
Sturdily framed sun lounger is what I'm after.
A sturdy sun lounger. That's a good word, isn't it? Sturdy.
I want to go back to Mallorca. I went to a place in Mallorca a few years ago where on the beach they had the best sun loungers I'd ever sat on. I couldn't understand how they were still there. I can only assume that Spanish people don't run down to the beach and steal things in the night. Because I was like, this is a brilliant sun lounger. I want this one. So yeah, to the point where I looked online to see where do people buy, decent sun loungers. I can't work it out.
We stayed somewhere a few years ago and they had very capacious sun loungers. They were lovely. I think as well, in the Mediterranean, they can leave them out, can't they? They can leave all the cushions and mattresses and stuff. So I feel like in this country you can't, can you? So I don't know, perhaps they have a different...
I suppose they don't get the same level of rain, and perhaps then the mold doesn't occur, and...
Yeah.
Maybe if it does rain, it warms so it dries out so quickly that it's not a problem. I don't know.
Anyway, yes, they have very capacious sun loungers which fitted my large bottom perfectly and was super, super comfortable. And they were you could get them to the exact right angle when you wanted to sit up and read. It was just very, very comfortable. But they were very expensive. But
I bet you could shop for hours online and never even find them. There must be some secret place.
Yeah.
Nice resorts go to buy them, and it's like, like just not common knowledge, because I can't find them anywhere. I even thought to myself, I expect they're expensive, but it would be nice to look.
Yeah.
I can't find anything. I can find loads of rattan. Rattan seems to be the latest thing, but rattan's not actually very sturdy.
No, it's not. And it doesn't age well, rattan, either, unless it's very plasticky. It gets moldy.
I need something made out of scaffolding.
Nice. A scaffolding sunbed in your garden. Lovely. Anyway, should we move on to our topic for the week, which was you suggested?
It is I don't think we snappily entitled it, but it was dealing with the empty nest thing, wasn't it? It was when your children,
adult children,
adult children, and you have to let them be adults whilst watching them be very bad at it.
Yes. But we both have adult children. I have a son who's at 23, and Carla has a son who's 31, is and?
Going to be 32 in about a fortnight's time.
32, and Natalie is 26.
Natalie's 26, yeah.
26. So we've got grown-up children. Mine has moved away, come back, and moved away again. And
mine just won't go. Yeah, Natalie's always lived at home. Anthony's moved out, but not gone very far away. Yeah,
it's still here hard for them, isn't it? It's so just to move out, and just the cost of everything now, and even more. I mean, even more so this last 6 months or 12 months. But I just can't think how they can get out now. It's becoming almost impossible, isn't it?
Private rent is so high, so expensive. I saw a thing on Facebook the other day, and it said something on the lines of trying to get a mortgage is like trying to persuade the bank manager that because you've been paying £1,000 in rent every month, you're perfectly capable of spending £500 on a mortgage every month, but they won't let you spend £500 on a mortgage every month because you haven't got any savings. And the reason you haven't got any savings is because you've been spending £1,000 on rent every month.
It's catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we drove up the road earlier on, and every single house has got not every single house in the road, but every single house that had an estate agent's sign was either to let or let. None of them were for sale or sold. So I think part of the problem is that the rental market has. What am I trying? When you like the the buy-to-let has become a huge issue, isn't it? You know, nobody can buy a house because there aren't any available to buy, because they're too busy being rented out to students with 6 in each property and stuff like that.
Yeah, slightly different where you are from where I am. I think city centres, it's more like Will's moved. My son's moved up to London and is paying an absolute fortune in rent. He's on quite good money, but he's just absolutely. He's got this tiny little flatlet with sort of like barely bigger than a bedsit type of thing, and it's just costing him an absolute fortune. There's no way he could save, and as I say, he's on decent money, but. I just don't know. But it was quite interesting.
Frustration of, sorry.
No, I was just going to change the subject a little bit. And so it was quite interesting having him home after he'd been away for so long. I suppose you're used to it because yours have been there all the time, but I guess that brings its own frustrations with it, does it?
Yeah, it's when they don't move out, they don't ever learn the responsibility of their surroundings, I think. So Natalie, for example, anything I ask her to do, she will do it. If I don't ask for it to be done, it isn't done. It's as if I am still, I've got to be the captain of the ship, and therefore everything is only done when I organise it, when I say so. And sometimes you think, I just wish that as a grown adult, you would notice that the vacuum needs to be put round. You would notice that the dishwasher needs to be emptied. It's not that she's unwilling to do it in any way, but I have to always be the propulsion to make it happen.
Yeah, it's never, your relationship has never had that opportunity to change to that of two adults, as opposed to being mother and child.
Yeah, so perhaps when they live on their own, they realise that, oh, somebody has to empty the dishwasher. Oh, perhaps that's me, you know.
Do you know what? It's quite interesting because obviously Will lived on his own. He was at university for 4 years. He lived on his own in shared houses and what have you for 4 years, and then came back, and he slipped very easily back into that parent-child.
I am the child of the home.
Exactly the same. If I said, "Could you put the bins out?" he'd willingly do it. But if he walked into the kitchen and the dishwasher was full and he opened it to put his plate in, which would be a rare occurrence in itself, let's be honest, he didn't often. But if it was full, he wouldn't think, oh, I'll empty that. They do just, I think, to a certain extent, there's always going to be that parent-child thing, although in a lot of other ways, I mean, it's quite nice. It's company, isn't it? I certainly notice because I work at home all day by myself. So, and Will was working from home when he lived at home, and it was quite nice having someone in the house. So, from that company type of thing, I do quite miss that.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me is that Natalie doesn't see the work that I do at home as needing any priority. So she will say to me, I've got the day off work tomorrow. What shall we do? And I'd be like, I haven't got the day off work tomorrow. I've got all my work to do. So whilst I will enjoy spending time with you, I've now got to try and cram my work into half the time. So that, you know, because the other thing is you don't want to say no, because I'm very conscious of being incredibly lucky to have that relationship with her.
Yeah.
I'm conscious that a lot of young women her age wouldn't want to be spending time with their mum, you know. So I really value our friendship, and therefore, if she wants to do something, I want to be able to say yes.
Yeah,
it does mean that my work doesn't take priority; it gets pushed to one side or whatever. So, but it's
I know what you mean. It's similar but different. Will would sometimes say to me when he was at home, "Oh, should we go out for dinner or go out for lunch?" And I'd be thinking, oh, I'm not really that bothered about it, actually. Then I'd think, well, it's really nice that he's asking me. So, yes, we'll go. And then, of course, you get the bill as well, don't you? Because
definitely.
He wasn't inviting me, so he can pay. There is something of an expectation, I think, in the nicest possible way that you're going to foot the bill.
Yeah, Natalie invited me out for dinner Friday night. And I said to her, am I being invited so I can pay? And she said, most affronted, no, I got paid from work yesterday. It's my treat. And I'm like, okay, would it have been your treat if I hadn't mentioned it? So, that's the joys of grown-up kids, is they can afford to do things, but they don't necessarily realise that that they're an equal in that aspect, I suppose, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Would you like them to leave home, or do you think you'd be lonely?
I don't
'Cause
know. I've
obviously, you're
often,
slightly different. You haven't got a partner. You're single, so
I've often, and you know, when you look into your future and think, I wonder what's there for me. And I think I'll always have a dog. I can't imagine meeting someone and having a partner, but I think I'll always have a dog. And I think having a dog very much negates loneliness. And I think the way the world has changed, with so many of your friends being available online at the click of a button, has negated a lot of loneliness as well.
yes, agree.
I would like them to be able to move out, and I'd like Natalie to be able to afford to get a place of her own, and it worries me that they may never be able to. So, does Will, when he's at home now, if he comes back for visit, does he take responsibility for things like his own laundry or whatever? Because when he was at uni, did he bring bags of laundry home in that traditional student way, or?
Yes, occasionally, not all the time, but certainly the last year, because they didn't have great washing facilities or anywhere to hang their washing in his last house. So if he came home, he would bring laundry, but he didn't come that often. But when he moved home, no, I did his laundry because otherwise it just was spread out on the floor of his room and it was revolting and it just really wound me up. And also, he was working from home, working in his room, and this is a whole nother conversation, isn't it? But it really bothered me that he was working in an environment, because he's very, very untidy.
Yeah.
And it really bothered me that he was working in an environment, because I feel like how can you have a clear mind if you're working surrounded by all this clutter and crockery and clothes and stuff everywhere? So I used to say to him, get your room tidy, smarten yourself up, because he would be lying in bed tapping away at his laptop doing his day's work. And I don't know about you, but when I work, I want to be sitting at a desk, feeling that I'm in a fairly tidy environment with a clear mind. Or perhaps
So
that's an age thing.
I'm going to say, is that an age thing? Is it a generation thing? Is that because we are of an age where, in your mind, if you're working, you're at a desk, whereas they don't work at desks anymore? Young people, the youth of today, they work wherever they happen to be sitting at the time. They'll work on the tube. They'll hire office space, or whatever. But they'll do whatever they need to do wherever. So is it a throwback from us believing that the only proper work can be done in a shirt and tie at a desk?
I suspect it might be partly. But I also think, well, I'm going to say a very Virgo thing now. You need an ordered environment in which to be as productive as you can be, I think.
I think I can agree with that to a point. I think that every now and again I come in here and I have a massive clear out and I think, right, okay, now I'll be able to get something done. But usually what actually happens is I'm so tired from the massive clear up that I go and have a lie down.
Go and have a lie down and a bit of cake. and think about how pleased you are that you've done such a good tidy. Well, one needs a reward.
But yeah, I look at Natalie. Natalie is the original clutter monster, just stuff everywhere, and where it lands is where it stays, and then she doesn't see it anymore after that. It just becomes part of the landscape of her room. And I say, so how can I can't go in there if I go into a room for any reason, I'm immediately uncomfortable. I either want to start tidying, or I can't stay in here. I need to go into another. I can't be in here having this, because I can't look at you and concentrate on what you're saying, because I'm so busy looking at the mess. And yet I'm sitting here now surrounded by my own mess, and I'm okay with that. So that's weird, isn't it? Is that a parent?
It's not. No, I'm the same. If Ashley leaves, Ashley's my husband. If Ashley leaves something, very often he DIY stuff. So there'll be paintbrushes on the kitchen windowsill that he's dried, washed and left there, or there'll be a little pile of tools on the floor in the lounge or something like that. Now, I could have any number of piles of shite around the room, but his one will still be the one that bothers me.
Yeah, I said to both of the kids yesterday, I want this dining room table cleared, and we've got dining table and it's covered in stuff, and everybody needs to take all their things away. And they were like, okay, what about your things? I was like, my things can stay there because I put my things there for a reason. And they were like, well, we put our things there for a reason. Yes, but your reason isn't good enough.
Yeah, one's own clutter is perfectly acceptable. Everybody else's is definitely not. I think that probably says more about us than people than it does about clutter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Anyway, shall we draw this one to a close? I think we've waffled about kids and clutter.
Yeah, you've got the joy of editing it, so.
Yes. Let's hope it's recorded okay.
I've got a little time left thing. It says recording on my screen and it tells me how much time is left. So I'm assuming it's all good.
Right, well, I hope everybody who's listened has enjoyed this, and I hope you've enjoyed it so much that you'll come back again next week for more.
So where will people be able to have viewed this?
It will be on YouTube. They can't view it.
So my thought was, is there somewhere where people could put suggestions if there were anything they'd like us to chat about?
Yes, I suspect the most people who will be listening to it, I think you can comment on the podcast sites as well, but I'm not fully up to, so I'll have that conversation with you after we switch. But
so I'm wading through mud here.
I think you can leave comments, but I'm not fully up to speed with that yet. It's very much flying by the seat of your pants here, if you can't tell already. But, yeah, leave comments. Let us know if there's a subject you'd like us to tackle, and anything you like. I expect we can talk for 20 minutes about most things, given the opportunity.
Easily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening, not watching.
Yeah, I've just said, where will it be viewed? Where will it be heard?
Yes.
It's very odd. Like I said, I've been on YouTube now for 7 years, but this is my first venture into the world of sound rather than vision.
Yes, let's hope we sound all right. Let's hope we sound better than we look anyway.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back again next week. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on YouTube, it will be on Carla's channel next week and rotating every week after that.
Lovely. Okay.
See you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.